What's up guys, you're watching India Today Tech. I'm Rahul Sethi, and in this video I'm going to compare two smartphones you can buy under 10,000 rupees. The Galaxy M10 that was launched recently at a starting price tag of 7990 and the Asus Zenfone Max M2 that was launched at about 9,999. So obviously Zenfone Max M2 is a more expensive smartphone, and you get the 3GB 32GB variant of the M10 at 9,000 rupees. So there's about 1,000 rupees of difference between the two smartphones for the 3GB 32GB variant. But anyways, let's compare everything about these two smartphones. So starting with the design of these two smartphones, at front you can see the M10 has a more refined notch and looks more futuristic compared to the Zenfone that has a wider notch. So you'll see the earpiece has been placed up top, and that on the Zenfone is placed on the notch itself. The sensors are placed under the display, while the Zenfone also has a front flash, so that is a slight plus point. But if you talk about the screen to body ratio, you'll see Zenfone Max Pro M2 has a slightly better ergonomics. It's slightly smaller, having a similar 6.2-inch display. So they have same displays, but the M10 is slightly smaller. Now talking about the build quality, the M10 is made out of plastic fully. You'll see it is a unibody like design, and there is one uniform plastic back throughout the phone. Now the Zenfone also has a plastic frame, but the back is given a metal plate, so it has a slightly solid and reassuring feel to it compared to the M10. Also it's slightly thinner and lighter in comparison to the M10, so it doesn't feel that hefty in the hands. Next, you can see the M10 also misses out on a fingerprint scanner, and the speakers are placed at the back side. So these are the major drawbacks, I would say, of the M10 when it comes to the design. Otherwise, most of the things are very similar. If you talk about the SIM tray, which is slightly difficult to pull out on the M10 thanks to its fully plastic body, the Zenfone and the M10 both have a triple slot, so you get to expand the storage and also put two nano SIM cards, which is quite nice because both of them have limited storage of 32 gigabytes. Now if you talk about the regular ports, you get a micro USB port at the bottom alongside the primary microphone, while the headphone jack goes on top on the Zenfone, while both phones also have a secondary microphone for noise cancellation. Now both phones also have a very tactile feedback on their physical keys. They have a volume rocker and the lock button placed on the right side, and they have a very nice and clickety feel to it. Also, if you talk about sensors, you'll see both phones have proximity light sensor, and they also have ambient brightness light sensors. So the brightness level can be automatically set by the phone. This was a problem with previous Samsung Galaxy smartphones. This sensor was missing on most of its budget smartphones, but now it has been included and it's quite a great thing. But there are some sensors missing on the M10 that are present on this one, like the gyroscope is missing on the M10. So one very important use of gyroscope is on the Google Maps. You'll see it gives me the direction where I'm pointing towards on the phone, and if I start walking towards north, it will tell me or guide me towards the right direction. This is not present on the M10 because the gyroscope sensor is missing. Alright, now next speed test is the face recognition speed test. So mostly the Galaxy M10 had a slightly slower face unlock. There's no fingerprint scanner on the M10, but if you like to see the speed, you'll see it's quite fast on the Zenfone Max Pro M2. Now if you talk about the notification LED or the charging light, it's placed inside the earpiece on the Zenfone Max Pro M2, but it's not present anywhere on the Galaxy M10. Now let's check the speed of app opening. Let me turn off the Wi-Fi so that it's not dependent on the internet, and let's clear the background applications as well. So as you would know, the Zenfone Max Pro M2 runs very near to stock Android 8.1 Oreo, and the Galaxy M20 runs the Experience UI 9.5 that is also built on top of the Android 8.1 Oreo. Both these phones have latest security patch of January 2019. So let's begin with opening Google Chrome first, then the Play Store, camera, phone, messages, Google Maps, YouTube, Facebook. Now if you talk about switching between applications, it's quite fast on the Zenfone Max M2, the browsing of the applications. And if we talk about switching, you'll see there's a slight lag on the Galaxy M10. Next, if you talk about the display, you will see the brightness level on the Samsung Galaxy M10 is way better compared to the Zenfone Max Pro M2. Although the Asus phone also has good brightness levels, but it won't be able to combat harsh sunlight conditions, and in outdoors the M10 will be much more successful, or rather legible and visible clearly. And if you'll see straight up, the M10 has more accurate white balance. The Zenfone Max Pro M2 has a slight reddish tinge to it, and it's clearly visible. Let's also play a video and find out the color reproduction of these two smartphones. So this color accuracy and good brightness levels affect the overall color reproduction on the smartphone as well. You will see the M10 has more accurate colors, it looks more vibrant and vivid, and colors have a good amount of sharpness, although the Zenfone Max Pro M2 also has good deep black levels, but it's clearly not as vivid as the Galaxy M10. Also, the viewing angles on the Galaxy M10 is slightly better, and that may be because again of the brightness levels. But I would not want to ignore the fact that the display on Zenfone Max Pro M2 is slightly more easy on the eyes, maybe because of a yellowish reddish tinge that cuts off blue light maybe, but it is slightly more toned down and appears less harsh to the eyes. Now as far as gaming performance is concerned, the Snapdragon 632 on the Asus Zenfone Max Pro M2 is able to handle slightly more graphic intensive games, although the Exynos 7870 present on the M10 is able to handle Subway Surfers quite well, but it is limited to these games only. In fact, PUBG also runs in low graphic settings smoothly on the Zenfone Max Pro M2. So it's not a drastically great chipset you get in this price segment, but yes, it's any day better than Samsung's M10 when it comes to overall gaming performance and graphic performance as well. And the 632 is also slightly more battery efficient, although there is a 4000 mAh battery on the Asus phone and a 3400 mAh battery on the M10. We found that there was about 3 to 4 hours of screen on time difference. Also, Zenfone Max Pro M2 charges within 2.5 hours, same time as the Galaxy M10, because the M10 comes with a 5-watt adapter, so you'll not need extra time to fill up the Zenfone Max M2. Now let's talk about the most crucial part of the two smartphones, the cameras. Both have a dual camera setup at the back that has a 13 megapixel primary sensor, but we found that the autofocus of the Samsung smartphone is quite nice. It is slow to lock focus, but when it does, you'll see it does a great job. It does not hunt for focus in most of the situations, but if you take a look at the Max Pro M2, it has trouble latching onto the focus all the time. Especially in low light situations, you'll see it will struggle sometimes to capture accurate focus, and you would need to touch to refocus. Now if you take a look at the photos taken by the two phones in good light situations, you'll see both phones take good details and good sharp photos, but you'll see colors are slightly better, or rather more accurate, on the Galaxy M10. Though the M2 is not far away, it also takes good shots and has decent sharpness all throughout. Also, there's very little hint of noise that you may find on the M10. But this noise is aggravated in low light shots. I mean, what the Galaxy M10 does is it blasts the ISO in low light conditions to capture more light in the frame. It would either detect the face or detect a dark object and increase the light in the frame for the photos to look brighter. At first glance, they do appear better than Zenfone photos, which in comparison appear dull and off balance. But the Zenfone preserves details. If you zoom in, you'll see it has very little noise and sharpness levels are still retained. compared to the M10. But yes, if you talk about the overall photo, the M10 does look more appealing, captures brighter frames and also latches onto the focus most of the times. Though if you talk about the background blur or portrait shots, the M2 does a good job. Since the second sensor on the M10, the Galaxy M10 has a wide angle camera, the portrait shots are taken with the help of primary camera only. So it doesn't come out to be that great. When it comes to selfies, the Galaxy M10 clearly wins. It captures better skin tones, brightness levels, colors and details. Again, it blasts the ISO in low light situations, but you'll see its selfies are much more usable. So these were the major differences between the two smartphones. Clearly the display and the cameras are slightly better on the Galaxy M10, but the performance and the interface is slightly better on the Zenfone Max Pro M2, and so is the build quality and ergonomics. Do let me know which one of the two would you pick in the comment section below and why. Also, if you've liked this video, hit the thumbs up button and share it with your friends. Subscribe to our channel to get latest videos on technology, smartphones and other gadgets like this. Thank you for watching.